When embassies start packing up and leaving, you know things might be about to get really bad. Right now, countries around the world are basically hitting the exit button on both Iran and Israel. The UK just pulled all their embassy staff out of Tehran. Switzerland closed their embassy too. Australia, New Zealand, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, they're all getting their people out fast. This isn't just one country being cautious. This is a global diplomatic exodus, meaning a mass exit. These are the people whose job it is to stay during crises and keep communication lines open. When even the diplomats are running, that tells you something major may be coming, unfortunately. Over 1,600 Chinese citizens have been evacuated from Iran, and an unclear number also from Israel. Hundreds more from dozens of other countries are fleeing through the land routes to Turkey, Jordan, and other neighboring countries. The US is even evacuating some of its own embassy staff from Israel. And in Israel, citizens are not allowed, fun fact, not really fun, but they're not allowed to leave the country by air or sea. Imagine you're an Israeli citizen, dual national, whatever you are. You can't leave. You can't leave. Ben Gurion Airport, the largest, is closed. People are still leaving, though, in their hundreds, through land routes going through Jordan, cutting through the occupied Palestinian West Bank, and through Egypt, cutting through the Sinai Desert. From those Arab states, they can then fly home. I thought Israel was home. Apparently not. Here's the scary part though. When embassies close, it becomes nearly impossible to negotiate a peace. No diplomats mean no direct communication. No communication means higher chances of this war spiraling completely out of control. Closing embassies, therefore, is a bad sign that this weekend might see escalation. These aren't just buildings being closed, these may be the last bridges being burned right before what could become a massive regional war. In terms of my analytical take, here's the summary. Israel wants a wider war. Iran stands as the last bastion in opposition to the Israeli regional dominance, the goal they have of regional hegemony. Every other regional power in the region is in some degree or another within America's sphere of influence, and therefore not directly hostile to the Israeli state. It should be noted as something that's very significant. The hundreds of millions of inhabitants of the region, the natives, be they the Persians in the east, or the Turks and the Kurds in the north, or the Arabs basically everywhere else, or any number of the minority, be that Alawite or Druze or what else, by and large the populations are extremely hostile towards the Israeli state. But at a government level, from Turkey to Saudi to Qatar to Misr or Egypt and every other nation in this region, Israel is not an open enemy. So Israel needs to expand this war, pull the US in, trigger a regime change in Iran ideally, or weaken it significantly enough so that future Israeli ambitions of expanding and establishing a greater Israel can be achieved. If not now, then in 3 or 5 or 10 years' time. Right? But Iran needs to go before the US goes, leaves the region. However, despite the US remaining Israel's firm ally, American preference under Trump and American public sentiment is actually leaning strongly towards the great power stepping out or staying out rather than stepping into this conflict. The other side of the public sentiment and Trump's desire and the administration leaning to keep the US out. The other side is AIPAC, which is the Israel lobby in the US, and the connected American officials to AIPAC and connected to Israel who believe in unwavering blind support for Israel. They're the ones who've been writing these blank checks to Israel, ask us for aid for anytime, ask us for military funding anytime. You guys have healthcare that we basically subsidize, but our American citizens have no free healthcare. YOLO, you only live once, LOL, Lamau, whatever, right? Whatever the cost, we will aid you. It's this oddly blind allegiance to Israel that leads many to insultingly refer to America, especially recently, as the United States of Israel. Yet, I stress once more, the US does not want to enter this war. At a government level, the leading administration is split, and Donald Trump does not. So far as my analysis tells me, he does not want this war. He even campaigned on a platform of, I'll end all the wars, not bring us into new ones. Now, the question is, will America and Trump be dragged in to the war by a combination of domestic and geopolitical external factors, including AIPAC and the like? And Iran also does not want a war. Interestingly, that aligns them with America in many ways. Its missile barrages, it's launched 17 barrages so far. They are designed to show their population, the Iranian population, that Iran at a state level can and will respond to aggression against it. They are also designed, the barrages, to put pressure on Israel through the disrupted civilian population in Israel, who have seen this last week air raid sirens and bomb-sheltered trips become a regular occurrence, right? They can't stomach that very easily, especially when they know that, oh, my government triggered this mess. But Iran wants de-escalation. It doesn't want escalation. That's why a lot of the time you see their responses haven't been particularly strong. They look like they're throwing, holding back their punches. Yes, they've lost missile launchers, but I don't think, analytically speaking, Iran has not triggered its full capacity. It's not using its most deadly weapons. It's not activated all the proxies in the region. It hasn't activated the proxies to attack American military bases. Iran is. Undisputed in terms of my analytical assessment, Iran is holding back something. For what? Well, this is why I say they actually want de-escalation, not escalation. So they're not escalating. And the Gulf monarchies too want de-escalation. There's a long list of nations actually that want this not to pop off. As does Russia and China. They also don't want things to pop up. They're aligned to Iran, but are not likely, mind you, to come to Iran's direct military aid if things get worse. Think of like how the US currently is sort of indirectly aiding Israel. China and Russia might indirectly aid Iran, but not more. You can't expect boots on the ground or Chinese jets flying over Tehran, fighting Israeli jets or American jets. That's very unlikely. Now, Iranian proxies also stand at the ready to attack US military bases and put additional pressure on Israel should the US step into the ring. We're talking Houthi Yemen, we're talking Lebanese Hezbollah, we're talking about the Iraqi militia Syria, not so much, right? Iran, though, has spent decades preparing for this exact conflict. I'm slowing down to stress the point. It's built for resilience. The entire nation is built for resilience. It's not a question of being pro-Iranian. I don't claim all Iranians support the government in Tehran, nor do I think Iran is invincible, nor do I think that it's come out of this without a bloody nose. It's been really messed up badly. But I'm not blinded by the demonizing rhetoric targeted at Iran that you find through Western media. I've got that filter and that analytical research capacity and that threat intelligence background that lets me cut through that, understand the reality, summarize, and then present it to you. Welcome to TikTok. This is my whole page purpose, right? I consume a variety of sources and provide analytical conclusions based on the research I've conducted. And let me tell you, based on my research, Iran has always known that in a conflict with Israel, they will not have air superiority. It didn't come as a surprise that Israeli jets were flying over Tehran and Iran can't do much. They knew. They have always known that there's a chance that the US may step in as well. They've always known that the Islamic Republic is the last state that stands in direct opposition to Israel's dominance in the Middle East space, towards their ambitions of dominating the region and potentially expanding further out when the time is right. As the other countries are too comfortable in America's sphere of influence, too inebriated by the wealth and the safety that's afforded them to take action against a state all but internationally convicted of genocide and war crimes. It's too comfy not opposing Israel, right? That's why Saudi, that's why Qatar, that's why the UAE, that's why Kuwait, that's why Jordan, that's why Egypt. They're too comfy. It's all right as it is, right? It's all right as let's not rock the boat because we might end up being, toppled, right? We might end up in the water and we for some reason didn't learn how to swim. Iran knew all this and has prepared for this for half a century. It's been 50 years almost since the Shah of Iran was toppled and the Islamic Revolution took place, leaving the current government that's in power now. They want things in Iran, they want things to de-escalate because theirs is a strategy of peace in cooperation with China and the global south to rise, to remove sanctions. That's why they were talking to the US before. The question is, will they get their way or will Israel get its way? War potentially leading to the end of the defiant Iranian state that has for so long kept them in check. If they got their way, Israel, and potentially igniting what could become, worst case scenario, World War III. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfouz, and I thank you guys for supporting me over and over again, video after video, commenting, sharing. I know you guys are liking it, sharing it. I haven't opened up a sort of monetary way of supporting me, but loads of people have asked how to support me. Just keep watching my videos, guys. More on that, more on everything.